Welcome to another episode in the training series on EASA Part 145 from Phoenix Way Academy. Hello, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Sam.
Today, we're really diving deep into EASA Part 145 facility requirements.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission really is to unpack what organizations actually need, physically, their infrastructure, to get approved for aircraft maintenance.
Right.
And we want to go beyond just the surface rules. We want to get into the why behind them,
Right.
because they're so crucial.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, it's grounded in the specific EASA regulations themselves, and importantly, the AMCs, the acceptable means of compliance.
Yeah, the AMCs give that practical guidance.
Exactly, to give you a really clear, comprehensive picture.
And this stuff is just so relevant for, well, anyone involved in aircraft maintenance, whether you're just starting out as a technician or you're a seasoned manager.
For sure, because where the work happens, it's often just as critical as the work itself.
It really is, like the unseen backbone of aviation safety. Even the ground the aircraft sits on impacts airworthiness, doesn't it?
That's a great way to put it. And the starting point for all this, the foundation, is Regulation 145.A.25.
Okay.
The full original English title is 145.A.25 Facility Requirements.
Right, 145.A.25, the absolute baseline for the physical space. So what's the first thing it tells us?
Well, Clause 145.A.25, kicks things off. It says, the organization shall ensure that A, facilities are provided appropriate for all planned work, ensuring in particular protection from the weather elements.
Okay, appropriate for all planned work and protection from weather, straight off the bat.
Yes. And it continues, specialized workshops and bays are segregated as appropriate to ensure that environmental and work area contamination is unlikely to occur.
So appropriate for planned work, that means it has to fit the job, right? Engine overhaul needs something different than a simple inspection.
Precisely. Fit for purpose is key, and that protection from weather. It's not just about keeping dry.
No. What's the deeper reason?
It's about controlling the environment, removing variables. Aviation safety hinges on consistency. Wind, rain, temperature swings, they can introduce hidden risks, subtle errors.
So it's about engineering out that variability, making sure the work quality is consistent, regardless of what's happening outside.
Exactly. You need control. And then there's the segregation aspect. Specialized workshops and bays are segregated.
Yeah, why is segregation so important? Contamination control, it says.
It's critical. Think about painting. You absolutely cannot have paint fumes or particles drifting into an area where sensitive avionics are being worked on.
Right, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It could be catastrophic. Or imagine grinding dust from a structural repair mixing with hydraulic fluids. Segregation prevents these kinds of cross-contamination nightmares.
Stops those hidden defects that might only show up later, maybe in flight.
That's the risk. And then 145.A.25a gets more specific with two subpoints.
Yeah.
Subpoint 1. 1. For base maintenance of aircraft, aircraft hangars are both available and large enough to accommodate aircraft on planned base maintenance.
Base maintenance needs hangars, large enough ones. Makes sense.
And subpoint 2. For component maintenance, component workshops are large enough to accommodate the components on planned maintenance.
So a clear distinction there. Big hangars for a whole aircraft, appropriately sized workshops for the components themselves.
Yes, the scale is different. Base maintenance deals with major overhauls, modifications. You might need space for several wide-body jets. Think of big MRO facilities.
Pitched operations.
Whereas component maintenance might need a smaller, highly specialized, clean workshop for, say, hydraulic actuators or engine parts.
So what's the challenge for organizations in proving they meet that large enough requirement, especially if they handle different kinds of work?
The challenge lies in accurately forecasting their workload and then demonstrating that their space isn't just big enough on paper, but allows for efficient, safe work.
Meaning enough room for tools, people, the actual parts, without things getting cramped or risky.
Exactly. Avoiding damage, avoiding shortcuts, because space is tight. It's about proving you have the capacity to do the job properly and safely.
Okay, so summing up point A, it's suitability for the job, weather protection, and really strict contamination control through segregation and right-sizing the space. A solid foundation.
Couldn't agree more. Now, that covers the physical shell, you could say. But what about the brain of the operation? Planning, management, certification.
Right, because the best hangar is useless without good management.
Precisely. Which brings us to Clause 145.A.25b. The full original English text is B. Office accommodation is provided for the management of the planned work referred to in point A, and certifying staff so that they can carry out their designated tasks in a manner that contributes to good aircraft maintenance standards.
Office accommodation. So it's more than just desks and chairs, isn't it? It has to actively support good aircraft maintenance standards. How does it do that?
Well, think about the management side first. Planning, scheduling, quality control, record keeping, all that crucial administrative work needs a proper space.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the certifying staff, the people signing off on the work in, they need an environment where they can concentrate.
So they can review complex documents, check technical data, make critical decisions without distraction.
Absolutely. If they're in a noisy, chaotic space, the risk of error goes up. Accuracy, integrity of records, it all relies on having a suitable place to do that thinking work.
It really underpins the whole quality system, doesn't it?
It does. So the key takeaway for point B is that effective admin and certification need a conducive office environment. It's not an afterthought.
Okay, got it. Now, clause 145.A.25C, this one seems to dig into the human factor, the actual working environment, and how it affects the people doing the maintenance.
Yes, this is really about the maintainer's immediate surroundings. The intro text says, quote, "The working environment, including aircraft hangars, component workshops, and office accommodation, is appropriate for the task carried out, and in particular, special requirements observed."
Appropriate for the task.
And then it adds, "Unless otherwise dictated by the particular task environment, the working environment must be such that the effectiveness of personnel is not impaired."
Effectiveness of personnel is not impaired. That's the core goal here.
Exactly. And it breaks it down into specifics.
Whoa.
Point 1 is about temperature.
Right.
1. Temperatures must be maintained such that personnel can carry out required tasks without undue discomfort.
Undue discomfort. So not freezing cold or boiling hot, basically.
Well, it's more than just comfort. Extreme temperatures genuinely impair performance. Think about trying intricate work with numb fingers in the cold.
Or trying to focus and not make mistakes when you're overheating and fatigued.
Precisely. Heat stress increases error rates. Cold impairs dexterity. Both are safety risks.
Okay, what's next?
Point 2 deals with contamination again, but airborne stuff this time. 2. Dust and any other airborne contamination are kept to a minimum and not be permitted to reach a level in the work task area where visible aircraft component surface contamination is evident.
Visible contamination. So if you can see dust settling, that's already too much.
Yes, and it continues. Where dust other airborne contamination results in visible surface contamination, all susceptible systems are sealed until acceptable conditions are reestablished.
Seal it up. That sounds serious. Why is dust such a big deal?
Dust can be abrasive. It can cause shorts in electronics. It can hide tiny cracks during inspection. Sealing system shows how critical it is to keep things clean. It's a definite stop work and fix it situation.
Understood. And point 3.
Lighting. 3. Lighting is such as to ensure each inspection and maintenance task can be carried out in an effective manner.
Seems obvious, but crucial. You can't fix what you can't see.
Exactly. Poor lighting leads directly to missed defects or incorrect installations. Simple as that.
Makes sense. Point 4.
Noise. 4. Noise shall not distract personnel from carrying out inspection tasks.
Inspection tasks, specifically. Because you need focus.
Right. And it adds, where it is impractical to control the noise source, such personnel are provided with the necessary personal equipment to stop excessive noise causing distraction during inspection tasks.
So if you can't silence the noisy environment like on an active airfield,
You give the inspectors proper hearing protection, not just for their health, but to ensure they can concentrate fully on finding potential issues.
okay. And point 5.
Specific conditions.
5.
Where a particular maintenance task requires the application of specific environmental conditions different to the foregoing, then such conditions are observed. Specific conditions are identified in the maintenance data.
So this covers things like clean rooms or paint booths.
Exactly. Climate-controlled rooms for sensitive avionics, specific ventilation for painting, dust-free environments for composite repair. Whatever the maintenance data specifies, you have to provide it.
Because deviating could wreck the component or the process.
Correct. And then there's point 6, which focuses specifically on line maintenance.
Okay, out on the ramp.
Yes. 6. The working environment for line maintenance is such that the particular maintenance or inspection task can be carried out without undue distraction. Therefore, where the working environment deteriorates to an unacceptable level in respect of temperature, moisture, hail, ice, snow, wind, light, dust, other airborne contamination, the particular maintenance or inspection tasks must be suspended until satisfactory conditions are reestablished.
Whoa, okay. So if the weather gets bad or it's too dark or too windy or dusty, work stops. Mandatory suspension.
Yes. For line maintenance, out in the open.
That's huge for operations. Why is that stop work rule so vital? What's an unacceptable level?
It's vital because the risk of error skyrockets in bad conditions.
Right.
Trying to inspect a wing in driving rain, torquing a critical bolt in high wind with dust blowing everywhere, it's just not safe or reliable.
So how do operators decide when it's unacceptable?
They need clear procedures. Define limits for wind, temperature, visibility. When those limits are breached, work has to be suspended. Maybe the task waits, maybe the aircraft gets moved to a hangar if possible.
Safety over schedule, basically.
Always. Line maintenance needs flexibility, but not at the expense of safety or quality.
Right. So summing up the working environment in point C, it's about keeping people effective, minimizing contamination everywhere, and having clear stop work rules for bad conditions, especially outside for line maintenance.
You've got it. Now let's move to point D, which is all about secure storage.
Storing some parts, tools, material.
Yes. Clause 145.A.25D states, the secure storage facilities are provided for components, equipment, tools, and material. Storage conditions ensure segregation of serviceable components and material from unserviceable aircraft components, material, equipment, and tools.
Secure storage, and that segregation, again, serviceable from unserviceable.
Crucial, it continues. The conditions of storage are in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions to prevent deterioration and damage of stored items. Access to storage facilities is restricted to authorized personnel.
Okay, secure storage. Why is this so incredibly important in aviation? What are the biggest dangers if storage goes wrong?
It's vital because every single part matters. Its integrity and traceability have to be beyond question. The biggest risks. Using a bad part by mistake because it wasn't segregated.
Like grabbing an unserviceable part off the wrong shelf?
Exactly. Or parts degrading because they weren't stored correctly. Maybe temperature or humidity damage, or even theft or tampering. Any of those could lead to catastrophic failure.
So the regulation specifies several layers of control here. Segregation first.
Yes, segregation of serviceable from unserviceable. Absolutely fundamental. In practice, that means clear labels, separate shelves or bins, maybe even separate rooms. Some places use color coding green for good, red for bad.
Making it visually obvious.
Then, conditions of storage are in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions.
Non-negotiable, you said earlier.
Absolutely. The manufacturer knows best how to prevent deterioration. Avionics might need anti-static bags, seals might need specific temperatures, composites need careful handling. Ignoring instructions risks hidden damage.
Damage you might not see until it fails in flight.
That's the danger. And finally, access is restricted to authorized personnel.
Why restrict access? Security.
Security, yes, but also inventory accuracy and preventing tampering or mistakes. Only trained people who know the procedures and have a reason to be there should access the stores. It's a critical control point.
So, storage principles, security, strict segregation, follow the manufacturer's rules, and control who gets in. It's a key link in the safety chain.
Absolutely. It preserves the integrity of the parts until they're needed.
Okay, so we've covered the main regulation, 145.125. Now, let's look at how the acceptable means of compliance, the AMCs, add detail to this. They provide the how-to, right?
Exactly. They offer practical ways to meet the regulatory requirements. Let's start with the AMC for point A, the general facilities.
Yeah.
It's titled AMC 145.A25A, Facility Requirements.
AMC 1 for 145.A25A.
Got it. So point 1 deals with hangar ownership and planning. It says, 1. Where the hangar is not owned by the organization, it may be necessary to establish proof of tenancy.
So if you rent or share, you need to prove you have the right to be there.
Correct. And it adds, in addition, sufficiency of hangar space to carry out planned base maintenance should be demonstrated by the preparation of a projected aircraft hangar visit plan relative to the intended maintenance activities. The aircraft hangar visit plan should be updated on a regular basis.
A projected aircraft hangar visit plan. That sounds like more than just a floor plan. Why does it need regular updates?
Because maintenance schedules are fluid. This plan shows how you intend to manage your hangar space over time, which aircraft, which bay, for how long, doing what work.
Right.
Unexpected defects, delays, new work. Things change constantly. If the plan isn't updated, you could suddenly find yourself without enough space, leading to delays or rushed work.
So it's about proactively managing capacity, showing you can handle the planned work even when things shift, especially important if you don't own the hangar.
Precisely. It demonstrates control and foresight.
Okay, what about subpoint 2 of this AMC?
It clarifies weather protection. 2. Protection from the weather elements relates to the normal, prevailing local weather elements that are expected throughout any 12-month period.
Normal prevailing local weather, so it's specific to your location, not just generic bad weather.
Exactly. Be prepared for your climate. Then it says, aircraft hangar and component workshop structures should prevent the ingress of rain, hail, ice, snow, wind, and dust, etc.
Keep everything out. Sealed building, essentially.
Yes. And crucially, aircraft hangar and component workshop floors should be sealed to minimize dust generation.
Sealed floors again. Why the specific focus on floors for dust?
Because unsealed concrete or asphalt generates a surprising amount of dust just from people walking and equipment moving around. It's a constant source of contamination.
Ah, hadn't thought of that. So sealing the floor is a proactive way to cut down that dust that can damage parts or hide defects.
You got it. It supports overall cleanliness.
Okay, makes sense. Subpoint 3.
This one clarifies the hangar situation for line maintenance. 3. For line maintenance of aircraft, hangars are not essential, but it is recommended that access to hangar accommodation be demonstrated for usage during inclement weather for minor scheduled work and lengthy defect rectification.
Okay, so confirming what the main reg hinted at. No hangar required for line maintenance.
But it's strongly recommended you can get access to one if needed.
For bad weather, or for work that's a bit more involved than usual ramp checks.
Exactly. Inclement weather, minor scheduled work, or lengthy defect rectification. Things that are impractical or unsafe to do out on the ramp if conditions are poor.
So it's about having a backup plan, a contingency for line maintenance when the weather turns or the job gets bigger than expected.
Yes, provides flexibility while maintaining standards, like needing to do a landing gear test in freezing rain. Better to have hangar access.
That balance between flexibility and safety again. Okay, and subpoint 4. You mentioned an interesting allowance earlier.
Yes, this details it.
4.
Subject to a risk assessment and agreement by the competent authority, the organization may use facilities at the approved location other than a base maintenance hangar for certain aircraft base maintenance tasks.
Okay, using other facilities for base maintenance tasks.
Yes, but with big caveats. Provided that those facilities offer levels of weather and environmental protection that are equivalent to those of a base maintenance hangar, as well as a suitable working environment for the particular work package.
Equivalent protection. And it needs a risk assessment and approval from the authority.
Absolutely. And the final sentence is key. This does not exempt an organization from the requirement to have a base maintenance hangar in order to be approved to conduct base maintenance at a given location.
Ah, so it's not a way around needing a hangar. It's for specific tasks only, under strict conditions, and you still need that main base hangar approval.
Precisely. Maybe for engine runs on a dedicated pad or component tests in a separate controlled test cell. It's regulated flexibility, not a loophole.
Got it. Flexibility for specific jobs, but the core standards and the main hangar requirement remain.
That's the essence of it.
Okay, let's move to the AMC for office accommodation, point B. What extra detail does that give us?
Right. This is AMC 145 I02.25B facility requirements. It's quite practical, it says. It is acceptable to combine any or all of the office accommodation requirements into one office subject to the staff having sufficient room to carry out the assigned tasks.
So flexibility in layout is okay, maybe one big office instead of several small ones.
As long as people have enough room. The key is avoiding cramped, distracting conditions that hinder work.
Function over form.
Exactly. And then it adds something very important. In addition, as part of the office accommodation, aircraft maintenance staff should be provided with an area where they may study maintenance instructions and complete maintenance records in a proper manner.
A dedicated study area for the technical staff. Why is that singled out?
Because maintenance relies so heavily on complex technical data. Manuals, schematics, service bulletins. Technicians need a quiet, well-lit space to really focus, understand procedures, troubleshoot, and complete records accurately.
Without being interrupted or distracted by workshop noise or bustle?
Precisely. It directly impacts safety by reducing the chance of errors stemming from misunderstood instructions or rushed documentation. It could just be a quiet desk in a corner, but its value is immense.
So again, practical focus, functionality, enough space, and that critical need for a dedicated place for study and record keeping.
That sums it up well.
All right, finally, let's look at the AMC for storage, point D. How does it flesh out the requirements for keeping parts safe?
Okay, this is AMC 145.0225D facility requirements. Subpoint 1 starts with the environment. 1. Storage facilities for serviceable aircraft components should be clean, well ventilated, and maintained at a constant dry temperature to minimize the effects of condensation.
Clean, ventilated, constant dry temperature, minimize condensation.
Yes, and it stresses. Manufacturers' storage recommendations should be followed for those aircraft components identified in such published recommendations.
Following the manufacturer's lead again, because condensation causes corrosion, right? And different parts have different needs.
Exactly. Avionics hate moisture and static, seals hate temperature extremes, composites are sensitive, condensation leads to hidden corrosion. Following the manufacturer's specific advice preserves the part's integrity.
Okay, so point 2.
Racking. 2. Storage racks should be strong enough to hold aircraft components and provide sufficient support for large aircraft components, such that the component is not distorted during storage.
Strong enough, sufficient support. Seems basic, but you mentioned distortion earlier.
Yes, a large flap or landing gear strut sagging on a weak rack over time can become distorted, subtly damaged, maybe even unserviceable before it's even installed. It's about preventing that unseen damage.
So invest in good racks. In subpoint 3,
Packaging. 3. All aircraft components, wherever practicable, should remain packaged in protective material to minimize damage and corrosion during storage.
keep it wrapped up. What kind of packaging are we talking about?
Could be sealed plastic, anti-static bags for electronics, custom crates, often with desiccant bags inside to absorb moisture.
Like those little packets you find in boxes.
Exactly. It's a physical barrier against dust, moisture, minor knocks. The phrase, wherever practicable, allows some common sense, but the aim is maximum protection.
Treat the part on the shelf like it's already on the plane, essentially. Keep it pristine.
That's the idea. Preserve its airworthiness right up until installation.
Wow. Okay, so when you put all these pieces together, 145.A.25 and its AMCs, it's clear that EASA facility requirements aren't just bureaucratic hoops. They really are the foundation for safe maintenance.
Absolutely. The physical environment, the storage, the offices, the working conditions, they all directly influence the quality of the work and the safety of the aircraft.
It shows how aviation safety is this incredibly holistic system. Every detail matters, right down to the temperature in the storeroom or the seal on the hangar floor. It makes you realize quality isn't just about skill, it's also about the environment enabling that skill.
Well said. It's a system where every part supports the others.
And remember, these facility provisions we've discussed today are just one part of the overall Part 145 regulation. There's much more to it.
Indeed, it's a comprehensive framework.
If you want to keep up with our deep dives and other insights, please follow us on social media. Just search for Phoenix Way Academy.
And in our next deep dive, we'll be moving from the place to the people. We'll cover personnel requirements, specifically 145.A.30.
Looking forward to that one. Until then, all the best.